Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into the market action from Tuesday, July 29, 2025. Our goal, as always, is to sift through the noise, the daily moves, the earnings, the data, and find those key insights, those aha moments you need. Okay, so let's jump right in. We saw the S&P 500 and Nasdaq hit new records right at the open today. But then, almost immediately, they pulled back. The Dow slipped too. What's your read on that? Why the immediate reversal?
Yeah, that's a great observation. It really signals what Jay Wiz over at Freedom Capital Markets calls digestion mode. Basically, the market's had a really strong run since, the April lows.
Right.
So it's kind of catching its breath. It's a pause. Some technicals even suggest we might be due for a bit of a pullback. Wall Street's essentially waiting for some big news.
And a huge piece of that news has got to be the Fed decision, right? That's coming up Wednesday.
Absolutely. That's the main event this week. The expectation is pretty much locked in, no change to the benchmark rate. They'll likely keep it at 4.25% to 4.5%. But what you really want to watch is the statement, the language they use, and Powell's press conference afterwards. That's where the clues are.
The nuance.
Exactly. And it's not just the Fed. We've got a whole flood of economic data. GDP numbers, private payrolls on Wednesday. Then the big one, the July jobs report, that lands on Friday.
What are they expecting there? Another slowdown?
Yeah, the consensus is around 100,000 jobs added. That's down from June. And maybe the unemployment rate ticks up just a bit, maybe 4.2%. Oh, and a small side note, Governor Kugler won't be at the FOMC meeting, personal matter. So 11 voters this time.
Okay, so lots of macro stuff. But what about the companies themselves? We keep hearing earnings beats are strong, like over 83% for the S&P 500 so far. Is that the full picture, though? Or is this week showing more of a mixed situation?
It's definitely a mixed bag once you scratch the surface. Yes, the overall beat rate is good, but individual stories vary wildly. On the plus side, you had Procter & Gamble. They edged up a bit of revenue forecast, named an insider CEO. That seemed to reassure investors.
Okay.
And Boeing, too. They actually delivered the most planes since 2018. Their CEO sounds pretty optimistic, aiming for 2025 as a turnaround year.
But there were some definite bumps in the road, too.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Whirlpool. Their stock got hammered, down about 17%.
Wow, 17%.
Yeah. They missed their Q2 estimates, and maybe more significantly, they slashed their dividend. That's often a sign of caution about the future. And UPS, the shipping giant, they also missed earnings and didn't even give guidance. That lack of clarity spooks investors.
Right. Uncertainty.
And the huge mover today, Novo Nordisk, down a massive 20%.
20? What happened there?
They cut their full-year guidance for sales and profit, specifically cited lower growth expectations for Ozempic and Wegovy in the U.S. market. That's a big deal for them. And
we still have the tech giants lined up, right? Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, all reporting later this week. So that corporate picture is definitely still developing. Beyond those big names, there are always these individual stock stories that just pop. Sarepta Therapeutics caught my eye, rallied almost 25% today, but it's still down 86% for the year. What's that about?
Yeah, Sarepta's a wild one. Classic biotech volatility. The surge today came because the FDA lifted a voluntary hold on its gene therapy, Levities, but only for ambulatory patients.
Okay, so partial good news.
Sort of.
Yeah.
The agency is still looking into the treatment because of some patient deaths, though those were non-ambulatory patients. It's complex. Oppenheimer actually upgraded the stock on this news. They think it could get back to maybe $37.
Which is still way off its highs, right? Wasn't it near $150?
Exactly. Miles away from its 52-week high of $150.48. It just shows you how sensitive these stocks are to regulatory news. Huge swings based on FDA decisions. It's a real high-risk, high-reward sector.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? This interplay between the big economic forces like the Fed and jobs data, and then these really specific company dramas playing out.
It really does. The market's in such an interesting spot right now. It's laser focused on these individual company results, the good and the bad, while also just waiting very patiently, maybe nervously, for that broader clarity from the Fed and the economic numbers later this week. There's a fascinating tension.
So here's something to think about as you watch these markets move day to day. Consider how these swings, from those record highs this morning to the quick pullback, how they reflect more than just numbers. They reflect the underlying mood, right? The currents of confidence or maybe caution. What does that ebb and flow tell you about where we might be